Well, hello. This is Rosa, rcgkreations. How are you doing? I'm bringing today a craft item with some little tips. Basically, was what this is going to be. Plus, also some samples of some of my stuff that I received in this past recent craft haul videos. Where I've actually finished the projects. So I wanted to show you what I've done with them. There's more you could do with them, but I just want to give you some quick little tips. Now, today we're going to be using this Coconut Crafts big die, and it says sending big hugs. See that? Okay, I really enjoy this. And look at the size. This is a regular card. It's a pre-made box card, and see the size of that. So that gives you a good idea of how much. So if you don't have a lot of supplies, you don't have a lot of paper, inks, whatever, and but you want to make something really nice, you can do this. And what I've done is I went ahead and pre-cut it already because I'm trying to save time. Now, here's one first tip. When you're not exactly for sure what you're going to do, but you want to do a whole bunch of die cuts, because a lot of times it's always best to go ahead and do a bunch of die cutting up front with whatever color cardstock that you want, and then save it for another time. So the best way to do that, especially when you're doing something like this that's all cut out, is put yourself some washi tape over all the items so all the pieces always stay together, and that way you know where it is or you want to line up. Now, yes, I'm going to show you. I'm going to line this up on my little Windy Vecchi mat here. I'm going to use my little white thing that head's already starting to wear off. And it is crooked because this, I did not line up the die on here because I didn't really care about it because I knew I was going to cut it down. So that's not a big deal. But if you are going to want to use this whole thing, make sure you line it up where you want it straight. So this way I could have just cut right here, and then I would have been done with it, and then that would have been one card. Because with these two cards, you're able to make two cards with this one die cut. Because you can use just the inserts, or you can take off the inserts and just use the card. But because I didn't do that, let me line myself back up, because I want to line this totally flushed. And then I can line that up. But see how crooked it is? So I'm going to have to maneuver this, and I'm going to have to give myself a border. I may not want to do that, but this is one way to fix this. So now I'm giving myself a border, and I'm lining it up, and I'm trying to make sure that it's as straight as possible, which it is. So let me get myself some more washi tape, because all I'm going to do is temporarily hold this. So let me just make sure I'm all lined up, because this is the one time, and a lot of this is visual, or you could do the actual measurements if you wanted to do the actual measurements, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to line it up as good as I can. Let's see. Actually, that's not going to work because this part is too crooked, so let's go get our a trimmer. Let me move this out of the way. So what you want to do is you want to get your trimmer, because this part is not lined up right. You can see how crooked it is. Okay, so let's get this straight and flushed against here. Here's where our cutting line is, because there's where the line is for it's going to cut. So what I need to do is I need to line this up. I'm going to have to angle the card because this is crooked, to get it as close as possible. So you want to eyeball it over here on this side, on this line right here, and then you want to line it right here. Okay, and let me get myself a ruler. Oh, I don't have my ruler here with me, but this is great because this is one of my cutting items. And I just kind of want us to be able to see through it. And I hope you can, yeah, you can see that through the video. And you can kind of line it up and let you know where you're off a little bit. Okay, so what I want to do now, let me move this over some more, is I'm going to just use this as a ruler base. I'm sorry, let me move that over. Here we go. Okay, I just want to eyeball this because I want to make this straight. That's the objective here. So you don't have to do a bunch of cutting and it still be crooked. But see how this part is bigger than this part? So I'm going to get myself a pencil. And I'm going to make the die cut to the edge of the paper on the ruler is where I want to make it straight. I hope that makes sense to you. So what I'm doing is I'm looking through my little ruler here, even though this is not really a ruler, it's a gauge cutter. Okay, but see now how the distance between this die and the end of the cut is pretty even all the way down the line. Now we want to do the same thing on this side. So we gave ourselves, okay, we want to get the same distance from here, this die cut, to the where I'm going to be cutting. Okay, and I'm not worried about the paper being crooked. I'm going to move the ruler and then just eyeball the distance. Okay, so the distance of this die cut and this die cut to where I'm going to cut. And there I am. So this distance is pretty good here and here. So now this is where I'm going to be cutting. And because this is just washi, I'm okay with it being a little bit crooked. And see how I have to line up my cutting area with my pencil mark with this pencil mark. That way I get a straight cut. And there you go. See? Now you've got a straight cut, and this crooked one is now straight. This is just a little bit of extra work, but this is a good way to save when you weren't paying attention how you laid this on your mat. And this is one option on how to fix it. So that way you don't lose yourself a die cut. And then that's just going to go in the trash. Now this one, because I know this is kind of, I can just eyeball this because this is a small area. And I'm good to go there. I've got myself enough room. That goes in the garbage. Now I can go ahead. Let's move this back over here. Move this over here. And I can line this up. And as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty darn straight. Okay. That looks good to me. Now on these particular set, I'm only going to use the die cuts. I'm not going to use all the little letters, but I don't want to spend extra time doing all this. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the washi just from the edges. And then I'm going to pull as I go, but leave the washi intact. And you got to be careful where you're at with your letters. And then that's still intact, so I can use this on another project. Because all I want for here is just these letters. Okay. So now, I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to tear up my card front. But I want to keep the spacing of each letter exactly where it should be. So this is just a little bit tedious, but this is just showing you a different way of using your dies for not just the plain old simple items, which is just lay it out, cut it out, throw all these inserts away. You're actually able to make 2 cards with 1 die cut. And see how they all still stay together? And then we're going to do the same thing with the hugs. And this video today is just on the technique tips. It's not so much on a completed card, but just on the tips on how to use two different ways to use your die cuts. Is basically what today is about. Okay, come on. This washi is pretty darn good. But I did press down on it because I didn't want to lose any of my letters. And I'm just easing up the washi. Ah, got ripped. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing to save everything. There we go. So that one got saved. And I do have a little bit of a rip. But see, my objective on this card was to use this. So now I'm just going to get myself my adhesive. Because I'm going to lay this down. Now this is a great time if you want to add some window covering on here and make this into a shaker card. And so just put your window covering here, add your double-sided foam, put your window shaker pieces in here, and then lay this on top, and then that would be a shaker card. But this is not going to be a shaker card. I didn't intend it to, but that's another tip. That's tip number 2 on you using your dies in more than just one normal fashion. And another thing I like about this ATG gun adhesive is if you make a little scraggler, see that right there? I hope you can see that. I went a little too far over, but I'm going to show you a way to save this. Okay, so all that's on there. That's on there. And I do want some adhesive in a couple of areas, not everywhere, because I do want this to lay flat, okay? And I could just use my liquid glue and just hit bits and pieces, but I don't want to spend the time to do that. But you can. I just choose not to. See this? This is that adhesive. This is one thing that's really good about this adhesive. All you do is run your finger over it and turn it into a little ball, and then you throw it away. That's how easy it is, and it's just as easy to do that on the cardstock. And I'm going to show you in just a second. So I'm going to line this up, try to make it as even as possible. Okay, and you see the little parts where I have adhesive here? I'm just going to run my finger, and you see how I wrap all the little adhesive runs into a little ball. And I'm just going to move it over to the side. And not all tape adhesive lets you do this, so you have to be careful, and you have to work with some scratch paper first. Scratch paper cardstock, because you can do this on paper. I've even done this on vellum. Exactly what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing is I'm removing all the excess adhesive from my project. Then you get the little balls of glue, and you just throw that away because you don't need it, or you don't want it. And wherever just feel, you'll be able to feel the adhesive of wherever it is. Let me get these pieces so they don't stick onto something else. And then get your wet glue, and then lay these down. Just pick up some pieces. Okay, come on. Okay, sometimes this is what you have to do with these bottles, is you have to basically condition it because it's got some dried glue in there. And you just move it around and use your little stainless steel pen on here. There we go. See here? Here comes the glue. And then lay that down. And then do the same thing for the other extra pieces that you want to lay down. Or you can do the spray adhesive. There's a spray adhesive out there. And then let's get this little bitty one here that kind of bunched up on me. And if you could also do an adhesive sheet, put the whole thing on there, and then that lines it up. And here's a little rip right there, a little snag. Okay, so then make sure you always close it up so it doesn't get hard, because the inside of this little channel here will get hard. Okay, so then there is your card. And then let me get another card here. I know I have some card fronts here. Okay, where are my card fronts? Come on. I thought I just had some. Here's another piece of card front. Here is where you can line up your little pieces, bigger pieces, and make another card. And, oops, we're going to say sending. You can, of course, rearrange your words again. Sending big hugs. So, you've just created 2 card fronts. Then I would just attach this to another card base and then complete the card and finish it out. But I want this to be a quick little tip. This is a did you know? And then you just line it up. You still got your washi here. So what I like to do is pretty much angle where it's going to be. And then there it is. Whoops. I'm going to put the piece of washi that's in between each letters is where I'm going to do that at. And then I'm just going to show you a quick little tidbit here. You're going to get your first letter, add your adhesive. This is the one time that you want your wet adhesive. Every crafter should, this is just my personal opinion, is have a set of good wet adhesive and some good tape adhesive in whatever brand, model, type you want. That's up to you. Okay, then I've laid that down. Now what I'm going to do is remove the washi. Still be very careful in removing your washi because you're adding extra pressure by having the adhesive from the washi get on your project. Now, I'm going to get my adhesive here, and I'm going to do the same thing all the way down the line for all my letters. Yes, this one is a little time consuming when you do it this way, but it comes out and gives you a good format for a good card. And it lines up perfectly for you. And then do the same thing and repeat it down the steps. Now this is the end of this washi, except for this part right here. And there you go. Now we want to remove this washi from this letter. And the same thing. Align this back down, put a little bit of pressure so the adhesive, and because that's the end of that piece of washi tape right there. And I always save my washi tape because as long as there's some stickum, it's definitely reusable. So this is another way to stretch your dollar. And because this is the end of this one, I'm going to go ahead and go on this side. And then do that one. Whoops. But carefully. Put it because you want it to be in the exact same spot. You want the exact same spacing of where the die cut was at. And then I'm just going to hold my letter down until I take off my washi. And there you go. And look at that spacing. Did that turn out good? Okay, so let me close this back up because today's video of Did You Know is did you know how you can convert and use your die cuts in more than one way? So you just created 2 different cards. One's using the positive, one's using the negative, or negative positive, however you want to do it. I don't know what you call that. I just know that's what that is. And what's really nice is you can do it this way and put a piece of clear plastic underneath it. I call it window glass. And it makes this into a shaker. So put your little beads and stuff, and then this will be the shaker. That's one way. That's one. Another way is this one, just like I did here too. You would decorate this or put this on cardstock or color this. I just wanted to do an example here. So I wasn't anything special. I haven't done the inside, and you decorate it how you want to decorate it. Okay, that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is use the negative and put that on the cardstock, and then you just line everything up. But do you see how straight that is? And evenly spaced out the letters are exactly like they were on the die cut. See that? See how that spacing is? So using your washi tape, or so any low-tech tape will work. Okay, to use whatever you have, just be very careful so it doesn't tear up your cardstock as you're pulling it off. And then you just attach it, then you're good to go there. So that's tip number 2. Okay, and then here, this is just, I just use this because this is just what I have. You use whatever you have at home. Some of you have those mats with the lines on it, use that. Here's a cutting mat that I've had for quite some time. Very well loved. Anything that you have that's going to help you line it up is what you want to use to help you get everything straight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some projects, some items that I completed. So here is, I love these little, this is the Woodware Craft Collection. And this is Fuzzy Friends. This is a whole collection. And this one's called Maisie the Mouse. And so there's a little mouse. Isn't she cute with all of her little messages? She says, "Eek, I don't mean to be cheesy, but have a mice birthday. Piece of cheese, some little dots, and some little different sizes of mouse footprints." So what I did is I stamped her with, I just stamped her on a piece of card front, just like I did on this one. This is just a piece. And I just have a whole bunch of these already pre-cut, so I already have some set up. So this is your card front, and I just stamped her on there. Here's where it says "Eek." There's my little footprint. See the little footprints right there? There's some more right here. And I went ahead and shadowed in a little shadow for her. Well, her, him, a little mouse, whatever. And then I did just watercolor this. I didn't do markers. I used watercolor for all of this, okay? And I just give her a two-tone, you know, because little critters have two tones in their fur. And then there she is. And then this is the inside of the message. That's one sample. This is done with watercolor. This is just those pre-made box cards. That's all these are, just like I did on that first set. This is a pre-made box card right here. That's what that is. But this project's not done, so we'll finish that one off later. And then here's the same thing on the little mouse, but here she is, because, you know, mice are in different color. And then I just created a little grass to make her look something like she's sitting on some grass. And then here's the little pieces of cheese. So this is just my interpretation. Ran out of my box cards. I don't know what happened to the envelope, but so I just have another generic envelope for this one. And then here is my little, she's called Connie the Cow. I went ahead and stamped everything out, and then I cut all these extras because I like to see what they look like when I'm doing my cards so I know where to place them all. So this little card turned into a little wobble card. See that? And she wobbles. She's going moo. I want to find some words that say moo, but I haven't done that yet. But I thought that was kind of cute. This is a fun card, and I just stamped all the little images. Used my little marker. Actually, this is actually the watercolor because this was I was doing watercolors, and this is colored with watercolors. But I have a set of sparkle watercolors, but they're called metallic watercolors. And then there's the inside of the message I had cut out, and I just stuck it on there. So that's one version of the cow. I only did one of this one. I did two of the mouse. And then here is, what's her little name? Her name is, this one's called Pablo the Pig. And there's the little messages and all that. All this is from Woodware. And then I just did him with my metallic watercolors. But I made it into a little girl. See the little bow? And I'm thinking I need to do little eyelashes just to make her look more like a little girl. But, you know, that's kind of cute. It's so simple. And you see the little shimmer from the metallic. This is metallic watercolor. All this was made with the pig was colored with the metallic, and the little bow. All this is metallic watercolor. Actually, this is not metallic. This is just regular watercolor. The little pig, because I wanted the bow to stand out from her. She's all nice and shiny. She's all metallic. But the little bow is just plain generic little bow. This is just regular watercolors. And then here's a little message. I'm a little crooked. Sorry about that. But you know what? We're human. It happens. And that is my take on when you get your projects, you get your products that you order, that you go buy, go to the store and go buy, because I don't do it very often. I do it sometimes, but not very often. And buy certain projects, you get to create other items And then this is the die cut. And this is what I created, because today's video is on tips. And then do yourself another favor. When you're stamping, go ahead and stamp some extras. And you just stamp it on any extra. You know, this is a good way to use your scrap cardstock. Good quality cardstock. And then stamp it, because you can always do the same thing as fussy cut, like around I did here on the little pig. Fussy cut all the way around it, and the bows and everything else, like the messages, and then add them to your cards. And then you can always color. So sometimes you may want to spend like a few hours on just coloring. Like here, I didn't stamp good enough here, but that's okay, because afterwards, when I stamped it, I went around with a black Sharpie, and I made the little squiggly lines bigger. In fact, let me show you. That way, it was more bolder than this, because it's not as dark. You see the difference? It's not as dark when you go back after you've colored in your project. Okay? So I just went ahead and stamped a bunch of extras just to have oh, there's my envelope. I thought I had it, but I wasn't too sure. There's my envelope. And then now I can just color these. So this way, when I'm doing one, go ahead and color a whole bunch of these. Just color just the way it is. And then you save this in your stash of a finished project, colored project. And then you can cut it out how you want to cut it out and lay it out where you want to lay it out. So this is just a little tip on stretching and making your card making go a little bit faster. I thank you so much for watching. We catch you in the next video. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and share. And give me a thumbs up, thumbs up. And we thank you so much. We catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.